Thank you for the click. My name is Luxley, and on the day before tomorrow, in other words today, I'm delivering another patch 9.0 Xpac leak. In respect of your intelligence, the intelligence of my Kemosabe viewers out there, any leak that I'm going to deliver from today till the beginning of Blizzcon 2019 is going to contain three of the following things, because I am 100% sure that I'm 75% sure that these three things are going to be in the next Xpac. Any leak is going to have some kind of element of Bolvar in it. I do believe he's going to be featured, if not definitely a secondary character in the next Xpac. We're going to have something with either a Paragon class, which could be a hero version of any given class, in other words, Mage, Monk, Death Knight, Demon Hunter, or it just might be a reskin, meaning different animations and maybe just a little bit augmentation of power. And then the third thing I'd want to see is something to do with the Shadowlands. It doesn't have to have the title Shadowlands in the Xpac title, but it has to have some kind of concept of Shadowlands or Dragon Isles, because we've seen them in quite a few leaks. They've been stitched in. I'd say about 50% of the leaks have Shadowlands or Dragon Isles. And what I mean by Dragon Isles doesn't need to literally be called the Dragon Isles, but some sort of representation of the dragon aspects. And this particular leak touches upon all three. Let's enter the realm of shadows. Level cap raised to 130. Bummer. There goes the whole makeover of the old kingdoms, which is desperately needed. New allied races: Tuskar, Tonka, Vicryl, and Frost Dwarves. Some allied races will be reconstructed and act as a reskin for the current races instead of being their own standalone race. Now, for example, you could see if they're going to have dwarfs, then you could use the customization to morph into a Dark Iron Dwarf or a Frost Dwarf. Same can be said with humans. You could either be a Kultiran human or a Vicryl. Vicryls would be really cool, don't you think? The faction split between Horde and Alliance is changing lore-wise. Both Horde and Alliance will work together. Oh, there's a shock. We haven't seen that happen. We didn't see that coming. They're going to work together to save Azeroth from the corruption of the old gods and death. War mode off allows you to go to any faction city as any given race. War mode on will continue to be the same. Horde versus Alliance. Kind of a wax on, wax off kind of thing, Karate Kid reference. New allied races will have the choice to either be Horde or Alliance. Class prestige skins, and this is part of that Paragon effect or feature that I was talking about. They will be tied in with all new class quests. So they're bringing back that element from Vanilla WoW, which is class quests, and they're going to probably give you the reward of a prestige class skin. For example, we've already seen that leak, whether it's true or not. Like I said, I'm 100% sure it's 75% true, but we see that the prestige skin for Death Knights are Dragonsworn, and it's going to change the visuals and maybe even the damage, we don't know. Well, it says here that they're just visual updates to spells, animations, dances, emotes, jokes, etc., etc. No gameplay changes, so it's pretty much a cosmetic change, but we don't know. There might be a little bit of an augmentation, or maybe a power increase might be attributed to these prestige skins as we progress through the Xpac. So here it goes into a little bit of detail as to what each class is going to get. Death Knights Unholy is redesigned to be a range caster wearing plate armor, which would be pretty amazing. Think a combination between necromancers and destruction warlocks, which would be my main, and I probably would not play another single class in the game. They will summon or reanimate dead around them while also being able to cast hard-hitting spells. Of course, hard-hitting spells. We just know that's going to be a reality. Now, as far as Shamans, the class redesign and fourth spec is going to be like this. Elemental will focus on fire and lightning, which is pretty much what we already see. Enhancement will focus on air melee abilities, which is something else we pretty much also see. Restoration, focus on water healing abilities. So far this all makes sense. Earth Warden will focus on earth tanking abilities. Totems will be designed or redesigned and will have a heavier focus on the element that your spec is based on, which is really interesting and cool. So you're not going to see air totems or earth totems for Elemental Shaman. That's basically what they're saying here. Hunter, fourth spec, is tentatively called, it's a work in progress, Shadow. I'm sure that's going to change because we already have a Shadow Priest in game. I doubt we're going to have a Shadow Hunter in game. be kind of redundant and silly. Basically, they're making Shadow Hunters bring back spells like Black Arrow and some cool spells that you've seen Sylvanas use previously. So I guess they're looking for that brand of Sylvanas or a Dark Ranger, which is probably a better name for a 4th spec for a hunter. Monk is being redesigned. Brewmaster will be based on the Black Ox. Windwalker will be based on Zwen, the White Tiger. Mistweaver will be based on Yu'lon, the Jade Spirit. There will also be a 4th new spec that is also a healing DPS kind of hybrid, kind of like a Disc Priest, but also like a Fistweaver. So maybe like a melee type of Disc Priest. I don't know. I'm speculating, and that's always, of course, one of the big problems of these leaks. You get a guy like me, step in, speculate, throw in their opinion, and next thing you know, when it's posted on 4chan or MMO or Reddit, somebody has already tainted it and decorated it like a Christmas tree with their own thoughts. The name for this spec is so far undecided, and but it's going to be based on Chai-Ji, the Red Crane, which makes a lot of sense. We've already seen that mechanic in with monks, the Red Crane elements of it. So they're kind of breaking down the elements and I guess focus on building them up with the monk. And that's the overall theme we're probably going to see with the rest of these class designs. Major redesigns, major rebalances incoming for these classes. You will see a lot less pruning, more class fantasy and spec identity. Paladins will also be 100% about the light with brighter, more holy abilities and animations. Priests are going to be very, very interesting as they serve both holy and shadow. Warriors are all going to be about spec identity as well. Fury is going to be fast, crazy berserker mode, while Arms is more brute force that strikes slow but hits extraordinarily hard. The rest of the classes are also getting huge changes, but nothing really worth talking about. In other words, he doesn't know the details. These are the only details that he knows. He didn't mention anything about warlocks, mages, rogues, etc. We're going to be getting a full guild UI design with multiple new social features, achievements, pets, mounts, toys, and transmogs. Cross-faction guilds will be a thing with both war mode on and off, wax on, wax off, as well as grouping in general will be possible with only war mode, as this might break world PvP if it was disabled. No workaround solution to this yet. Yeah, so there's a huge issue here with war mode and world PvP with this convergence of the two factions. I'm sure something needs to be worked out. Whatever the solution will be, deliver a ton of other problems, because that's what Blizzard does really well. Moving on, PvP will be seeing a full redesign for the 42nd time. Currencies will be brought back. The current honor system is staying, but it will be upgraded. Think Diablo 3 type Paragon system. Conquest will be used as currency, where you will be allowed to purchase gear on a weekly basis. Huge applaud for that. Something we need. Full redesign kind of scares me, because every time they redesign it, they add something good, but they also take away something good. So we'll have to wait and see what they do with that. PvP specific stats are being reintroduced. For example, resistances, stun duration, movement speed, etc. That would be pretty cool. I'd like to see that. Nothing about resilience, which was the huge cornerstone PvP stat. So I'd imagine we'd see some kind of resilience, or maybe they're breaking resilience into different categories. We'll find out more, or maybe find out nothing if this turns out to be a total complete hoax. There will be no new AP grind for this expansion, to which I say bullshit. Blizzard loves AP grind. It keeps people on a treadmill, and if you're on a treadmill, you're dispensing time, and if you're dispensing time, you're sub to the game, which means Blizzard makes money. So I do not believe Blizzard is going to do away with the AP grind. If they do not have an AP grind of any kind in the next Xpac, I would think the end of the world will be coming soon. The Essence system is staying, but becoming a talent Essence system instead. You will have multiple major and minor slots that both have passive as well as active abilities. These will evolve throughout the expansion. Essences will be purchasable from the vendor with a special currency to avoid having to do content that you would prefer not to do. Bullshit. Bullshit, bullshit, bullshit. Do you know how many times players have said on the forums, we do not want to do PvP in order to be competitive in PvE? Or they've said, we do not want to do PvE to be competitive in PvP. It has been said 500 million times on the forums, even in Q&As that Ian Has a Clueless does. And the reality is, Blizzard just doesn't listen. They just do what they want. There is no freaking way, absolutely no way that they're going to not let people do PvE in order to PvP. No way. It is not happening. World quests are staying, rewards are being changed, and will scale with your item level and on a weekly basis to make world quests relevant throughout the entire patch instead of just a few weeks. Titan Forging and War Forging will be removed, which we already know. Talent trees are being redesigned for each spec and will be more involved and rewarding while you're leveling, which also is a cookie that they're taking from Classic WoW. In this case, with this particular Xpac, Blizzard is learning a few things from Classic WoW. They will most likely include more class fantasy talents instead of spec gameplay changing talents. Not sure I like that, because as a PvPer, you want gameplay changing talents. You want to be able to tweak what it is that you bring to the fight to have a greater impact in the fight. Basically what they're talking about here, think more than 3 charges of Divine Steed. So basically what these talents are, they're talking about you'll have Divine Steed and then you'll have a chance to add a couple of charges to it, maybe an additional boost in movement speed with it, rather than something truly game-changing. Now that can be game-changing, that is pretty interesting. We'll have to see, but they said that they're not going to allow you to alter the way your spell rotation is determined with talents, which I think is a very good thing, because when you can do that, you give people just essentially what will turn out to be bad choices, whether it's PvP or PvE. There's that opportunity for people who are not quite 100% informed to make bad choices. I kind of like that idea. Getting back to the lore, we attempt to imprison N'Zoth once again with the assistance of Mother, Magni, Wrathion, and several other major characters. In the final battle, N'Zoth manages to kill Sylvanas and a couple of other major characters. With no victory in sight, Mother, Magni, and Wrathion manage to open a portal to allow us to escape back into the real world, which fails miserably and allows N'Zoth to escape as well. The premise of 9.0 is that N'Zoth has escaped and is wreaking havoc on the real world, kind of like a Deathwing sort of scenario. We will be searching Azeroth for a solution on how to stop him from corrupting the entire planet. Eventually we will find a portal to the Shadowlands. Now there's that cookie crumb of Shadowlands, which is located in Icecrown Citadel. The fight to the Shadowlands isn't easy, as Bolvar has gained control of a new Scourge army that has taken control of a new and redesigned Northrend. So there's the redesign we're looking at. We seek assistance in stopping the Scourge and Bolvar through the help of the Bronze Dragonflight, or basically what's left of them. They're kind of beaten up and not what they once were. They're a shadow of their former selves, so I don't know how much they'll be able to help us. N'Zoth is corrupting everything on Kalimdor and Eastern Kingdoms. His goal is to release the imprisoned gods and destroy Azeroth. Isn't that everyone's goal? Everyone goes to sleep with that glorious dream. Let's destroy Azeroth. Let's destroy it. Some old world locations will be redesigned and used as locations that your character will use to level. All new stories and leveling experiences. The Dragon Isles will be a location we'll visit. Think Broken Shore, Argus, Timeless Isles. That is probably like a patch 9.3, maybe 9.25 sort of thing. We will be going to the Shadowlands or the Shadow Realms sometime in the expansion to stop N'Zoth and the old gods. This is where we will meet Death and where new lore will be introduced. Major players in this expansion as far as the lore. Sylvanas, obviously. We don't know if she's good or evil here, even though she was killed. Didn't he say she was killed? I don't understand. Bolvar, Morazon, Zul'jin, Ashara, Tyrande, Anduin, my favorite. Gotta love Anduin. Magni, Wrathion, and both the Infinite and Bronze Dragon flights. new allies and new enemies will emerge as well. Beta invites are going to go out like hotcakes. Absolutely sign me up for some pancakes. Occasionally I'm in the mood for those. The goal is to have as many testers as possible to allow bug fixes to be handled before release instead of finding them after, which is something Blizzard just never has seemed to get right, no matter how many people they admit into the beta. Beta release is scheduled for early 2020. Highly doubtful in my opinion. Probably we'll see an alpha then, shortly after 8.3 release or 8.35 announcement. For release, fourth quarter 2020, possibly first quarter 2021. Wow. Could you imagine first quarter 2021? As we speak, you're looking at another 14 months of BFA. That'll bring the sub count down to the teens. Maybe 19 people will be playing. I probably won't be one of them, sorry to say, if I got to deal with BFA for 14 more months. That's almost like a prison term. BlizzCon is going to be big this year. I agree with that. Multiple changes to all games, most definitely. Heroes of the Storm, Overwatch, Diablo, seeing the biggest changes of all. All games will get something new, possibly a new IP announcement at BlizzCon, which is something that I strongly believe is going to happen. Level cap is being increased to 130. Once we've saved Azeroth from the corruption of the old gods, we will return to a new, redesigned Azeroth with a level squish and other changes in 10.0, new lore, new story arc. At least that's the plan for now. That needs to be patch 9.0. If Blizzard is going this route to just add another 10 levels to the Xpac, a few dungeons, expand the story, new race, this is the formula that worked for years but no longer works. They gotta move on. They gotta sit here and reinvent WoW. This idea that they're gonna push this level squish and redesign till 10.0, it really needed to be probably patch 6.0. And now we're going into 9.0 and this leak is saying it's not gonna be a reality. This is lazy Blizzard. This is uninspired Blizzard. And lazy and uninspired Blizzard means less subs for Blizzard. Less subs means less money. Less money means less money to go around to develop new patches, new assets. Do you see how this works? And then you're sitting there and you're trying to facilitate an entire Mythic raid group, but you can't because a bunch of people have quit the game. That's the snowball effect things have. When they make the game lazy, when they make the game uninspired, more and more people tune out of the game and it becomes harder and harder or more time consuming to do content. It's harder to find people to do arena with. It's harder to find people to do Mythic raids with. Dungeons, maybe not. Probably always be there. I like everything that they're doing here, but there really needs to be a level squish. Sorry, folks, it is something needed. This whole thing does stick into the big three that I said. We got to see Bolvar. In this case, Bolvar seems to be a villain. We have to see some sort of remnant of Shadowlands and Dragon Isles. We get pieces of both here. And we also have to see something with the Dragonsworn, which very well could be the class skins, one of the Paragon skins that we're going to see moving forward. That's all, folks. Realm of Shadows. It's got some elements I like, some I don't like. 90% of these leaks are probably not true, but even if you find something that is very untrue, like Blizzard turning around and saying, no AP grind, no PvE to PvP stuff, doesn't make it 100% fake. Parts of it can be off the mark, parts of it could be wrong, but we might see some things here that are implemented in game, and that's the reason why I made these videos, so we could go back if we have extra time and we're bored, and we could figure out, okay, they got this right, they got that wrong, blah, 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 blah. You never know. My name is Luxley. I want to thank you for tuning in. Here's the thought that I'll leave you with. Whatever it is by you, whether it's morning, afternoon, or night, make it epic.